I have a feeling this is gonna be funny. And yeah, I do think it's gonna be interesting too. So let's check this out. I have hopes because I like Big Boss's material. He's good at this. So let's go. 3, 2, 1.
Zombies have been a pop culture staple for decades. Movies, books, music videos, comics, all having their swing at the genre to great success.
Nope, it's not Ackman. Nope.
But with the advent of computer technology, a whole new avenue of the genre began to sprout. It was a perfect fit, and zombie games gained traction quickly. But in 2012, a new type of zombie game appeared. And now it's all over your YouTube homepage. The concept of the DayZ mod was simple. Drop around 60 people in a huge, open world map with basically nothing to their name, and let them hunt, craft, and loot weapons, vehicles, armor, and food. Then sprinkle a few zombies here and there, a drizzle of survival aspects, a pinch of PvP, and then for the final touch, proximity chat. Delicious. And the
I don't know. Would you? Because DayZ was an Arma mod. Is that correct? If I remember correctly, yeah, it was like an Arma 3 mod. What would you classify that as? Would you classify it as a battle royale or survival? Because I feel like it's more of a survival. Like even Arma 3. The DayZ mod was just Arma 3 with DayZ with zombies sprinkled in. So I haven't played either, unfortunately. But would you say survival? Okay, that's the distinct feeling I got. Is it was a survival game, and then when you throw DayZ in with the mod, it's just basically putting zombie AI in there. So okay.
The open world sandbox multiplayer zombie survival game was served. But first, do you browse the internet and you don't have Opera GX?
At time.
Oh my god. Opera GX is not your average browser.
At least he's doing it right at the beginning.
For gamers. The customization is vast, and is that a Big Boss themed mod pack? Designed by experts for smooth, efficient, military-grade browsing purposes. Listen to only the most therapeutic sounds as you open tabs, close tabs, and type. All the while, listening to smooth tracks. And look at that beautiful new wallpaper. Don't like certain features?
By the way, guys, I hate to say it, but I don't like Opera GX. I find it really slow. I've tried it a couple times, and I found it to be really slow. Like, it's fine when you first install it, but shortly after, the connection just seems to really bog down. I don't know why it gets hyped so much, honestly.
Now you can keep a bunch of tabs open without a hit to performance, and keep those downloads uninterrupted. And are those free games and bargain deals?
Take the volume down during the ad, but we'll let the ad play through.
They even have a calendar. Catspill, Sword of the Necromancer, Spacebar Clicker.
Maybe. I'm not sure, Dusty. Like
GX Corner.
Basically, like Opera, and I've experienced it with Firefox too. Like I had Firefox for a while, and it's bogged down insanely.
DayZ was an instant success, and over time, similar games would appear. At first sporadically, but then very, very quickly. Initially, gamers are excited. A promising new genre ripe for exploration. What could go wrong? But by the late 2010s, that question had been answered. A sea of absolute atrocities floods shelves at breakneck speed. There is nowhere to run.
Yeah, and this unfortunately is a problem with the gaming industry. Is a single genre or style of game kind of strikes a chord with people, and then the gaming industry just absolutely bombards you with that. All of a sudden, everything is that genre where everything has that hook, and it loses its appeal very quickly. Oh, it's not so Dusty. It's not quite so much that it gets milked to death. It's just that the gaming industry, and this applies to Hollywood as well, they see, like, in the case of zombies, people are like, oh, zombies, cool. Yeah, we like zombies. This is a cool game. And so everyone just goes, okay, everybody, it's all zombies all day. And they just, and the market literally gets flooded with zombies and entertainment. Yes, House Gift, that is the correct phrasing. Oversaturated. They oversaturate the shit out of the market with this, and it dies off real fast. Like, real fast. Pretty soon, within like maybe 2 years or so, people are like, okay, I'm sick of zombie games. Angry Joe is the perfect example where, he does that bit with other Joe. It was like, hey, you want to play a zombie game? Hey, you want to play a zombie game? And every time he's like more and more like, no, 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 no. Okay, gamer. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you come by again another time. Yeah, exactly. There was the flood of World War II games. There was the Battle Royale, the flood of Battle Royale games. So, yeah, it's like the entertainment industry it smacks of desperation. They are so desperate for eyeballs that if one thing strikes a chord, it's like, okay, we're only doing that now for the next 2 years. And it just it completely oversaturates it right from the very beginning. And that's a that's what's killing a lot of it is they're taking away, okay, these guys were successful with zombie. Let's try and be successful with something else. Yeah. But yeah, it's yes. If only Dusty. I think there used to be back in the day, but they haven't done any for a while. I personally would like a good werewolf game. That's what I would like. I would like a good werewolf game.
These are often in the form of the fairly new early access game, a model that often involves taking everyone's money first and asking questions later. As a result, half-baked, buggy, misleadingly advertised and massively overhyped games swamp the market. And over time, sentiment on the genre changes. People take a look at their Steam library, and after a few years, they'd slowly begun to notice something.
There was a werewolf game that came out not too long ago, based on the Werewolf the Apocalypse RPG game. And it was okay from what I heard, but it wasn't great. I was kind of interested in getting it, but I didn't in the end. Like, where you are a werewolf and you can choose to change between human, full wolf, and just full-on werewolf. You can change between those three forms. It was okay, but kind of arcadey. You're not a soldier. Hecky, I don't think you're a soldier, but you are I forget what werewolf tribe it is, because the werewolf from the Will of Darkness RPGs, it's tribes. Uh, I forget.
All of these games were absolute arse. Open world, sandbox, multiplayer, zombie, survival. Words that once drummed up considerable hype, now ominous warnings to any poor soul in their sights. And after years upon years of terrible cash grabs, it was apparent. The genre had finally reached critical mass. The horde of abhorrent releases was too much. At this point, far too many had been lost to the genre. The dream was
Time
over.
to snap it out.
Dust. Gamers universally vow never to fall for the hype and lies of this genre ever again.
Oh yeah, we know how that goes. Anytime the gamers say we're not falling for this hype ever again, what happens? I believe it was Dusty. I think it's fairly recent, but it's been only within the last couple years. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that was it. And yeah, gamers say we're never gonna fall for it again. Yeah, they will. Yeah, they will. It's It's the same. Yeah. And yeah, Lurker, I think he is using I think the Mia is using the royal we. I do believe. It's speaking in a generalization. Um, Perfect example is Madden. You know, Madden has been doing same shit different day for years. And each year they say, "Oh, we got this new thing. Oh, we got this new thing," and it's the same thing. And people go, "Okay, we're not falling for this again." And then the next year, new thing. Yep, Snowman, FIFA 2. It's the same thing every time. Yeah. And yeah, my cat is being a pain in my ass. 1 second. Sorry about that. My cat decided it was a good idea to chew on my chair and stuff. But yeah, it's and Snowman, same. And you know what? I canceled my pre-order for Anthem. I pre-ordered Anthem. I was supposed to get access to the beta. I tried to log in, and I couldn't even get past the BioWare splash screen. I couldn't even get through it. Sony wouldn't do anything. BioWare wouldn't do anything. So I said, "Fantastic! I'm not buying your fucking game," and I canceled my pre-order. And I've never made a pre-order since. So yeah, gamers say never again until never again happens. Yeah. Yeah, and you know what, house guest? I never played Anthem. I canceled my pre-order and I didn't play the game because I watched the reviews when it came out, and obviously it was shit. No, Snowman, you have my sympathies.
But in 2023, a game would release that would change everything. A game that's trailers looked so great, so promising, it would shoot to Steam's #1 wishlisted game in a matter of months. A game that would, after all of these years, finally do the genre justice. Realise the full potential of the open world sandbox multiplayer zombie survival game. This game was The Day Before.
Now, I'm gonna say that the day before, yeah, it was. Actually, Dusty, I'm not even so sure it was AI voice acting. I think they may have actually gotten actual voice actors for the trailer. I could see them doing that. Voice actors for the amount of lines that they read, it wasn't many, so I could see them actually having voice actors. But it's been confirmed AI. Well, shit. It just adds on top. Maybe he'll talk about that. But I think the day before was running off of the hype of The Last of Us. They were 100% working off. I mean, look at that. This was their cover art. They were 100% working off of The Last of Us, which was probably one of the last successful quote unquote zombie games. So, yes, it did, Snowman. Within a week, and the entire company shut down that same week.
It's the 29th of January 2021, and a trailer drops on YouTube. And it looks amazing. PvP, zombies, survival elements, crafting, and does that say MMO? And then those graphics. Whew. This game seemed to have it all. It was exactly what people had longed for. And so naturally, the video gets around.
And honestly, I saw the video for this, and I thought, okay, this looks similar to The Division in terms of graphicking and gameplay. It looked a lot like The Division, which is not a bad thing. I played The Division 2, and I liked The Division 2. I thought The Division 2 was a pretty good game. I enjoyed it a lot. And so that's a point in its favor, but that's what I thought is when it came out is this it looked and felt like it was like The Division 2, but open world with zombies.
More than 1 million views conjured in no time. The day before is off to a strong start. Over in Singapore, and the developers.
Yeah, Snowman, it is, but they just canceled the latest expansion. I forget what it was called. I think it was Heartland. Uh, they were gonna be Division 2 was gonna be coming out with an expansion called Heartland that I think probably took them to I don't know, probably a more rural area, and unfortunately it got canceled, which really sucks. I haven't played the Division 2 in a while, honestly. But I mean, I played it through New York, and I thought it was a great game. I do. But I haven't played it for a while.
Fantastic, are celebrating. And for the two founding brothers, it's time to jump in front of the cam. Edward and Eisen Gotovtsev run us through the game themselves in a new combat gameplay trailer, where they call the game a real breakthrough for the MMO survival genre. And that they'd reinvented everything. Nice. In March, they drop a
Well, that should have been a clue right there. When somebody says they reinvented everything, that's a clue, Sherlock.
vehicle trailer. Here, they show us vehicles. And then an extended gameplay trailer in April. People flock to view it, and it racks up more than 1 million views in just one day, racking up millions more down the line. At this point, the trailers and marketing materials are rich, constantly flowing. We're spoiled. But then suddenly, nothing. After April, complete radio silence. We have no choice but to wait. Months go by, and nothing but a screenshot here and a tweet there. Bear in mind, at this point, the official release date is just coming soon. We're starved. But finally, after 5 months of silence, in October, they come back. Another trailer on IGN.
Honestly, this... And you know what? Okay, not getting a trailer for 5 months while the game is in development? People need to chill the fuck out about that. If a game is being developed, you as a potential customer are not owed a trailer while the game is in mid-development. They gave like a teaser, I guess they gave a teaser at the very beginning, which obviously was just pre-generated footage. And I've heard about this before. I've heard this before where people are like, oh, we haven't heard anything about this game in months. It's like, motherfucker, games take years to develop. And the game developer is under no obligation to be posting you, is under no obligation to be posting you video updates of, of gameplay footage and anything like that. Look at GTA 6 for fuck's sake. We didn't get anything until the trailer was leaked. And then they went, fuck it, we're rolling with it, and dropped the trailer. Before then, we as the public got nothing from Rockstar. Rockstar did not utter a peep for how many years about GTA 6? So, the gamers that are pissing and moaning about, oh, there's no gameplay trailer, there's no trailer, we're not hearing any news, blah, blah, blah. This is horrible. Like, who fucking cares? Like, wait patiently for the game to drop, play another game in the meantime, and wait. Don't get pissed off at a dev for not posting stuff while it's still being developed. This is an unfair expectation that a lot of gamers have for developers. Yeah, exactly, Dusty. A lot of gamers got overspoiled because some of these companies did overshare. Yes, exactly. They overshared a lot of the times to their detriment. And people got spoiled. Whereas a lot of developers don't share anything. Their heads are down and they're working. Yeah, but Baby Jeebus, I think where we're at this point in the storyline is it wasn't close to launch. This was probably, I think, when they released, because it was January that they launched the first trailer. They may have done some other updates after that, and then they didn't post for 9 months. So the game was still at minimum a year and a half away from launch when they did that radio silence. So yeah, and yes, you're right. The Baby Jeebus with the day before they didn't do any kind of real trailer before the launch, and yes, that was a bad sign. But I'm kind of talking about during the development portion of it. There's become this stupid expectation by a good chunk of the gaming community that you have to keep us up to date with screenshots, or you have to keep us up with developments, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No, the developer is under no obligation to do that. They're putting their heads down, they're fucking working, leave them the hell alone and let them work. It's as simple as that. Rockstar did it, and guess what? Everybody's eager as hell to play GTA 6. Except for those that are deliberately trying to create drama about a potential story.
This time, a look at the world they'd created from the ground up, including a massive shopping centre. The music choice is strange, but oh well. And wait, there's more. Weightlifting. Nice. And guess what? The brothers are back. They jump on cam again and give a shout out to their global team, which consists of thousands of people from Russia, Germany, Kazakhstan, Turkey, and more. And is that, oh my god, the release date? Wait, it's 2025? 2024? 2023? Oh my god. 21st of June, 2022. That's just a few months' time.
And yes, Dusty, Assassin's Creed Shadow is still happening. It is indeed. The pre-orders have already started. So yeah, it's still happening.
The game goes on a media blitz. Articles are everywhere. It even climbs the ranks to Steam's #1 wishlisted game, beating out the likes of Stalker 2 and even Starfield. Todd is distraught. They use this spotlight to announce a new fantastic game, called Prop Night. Essentially, Dead by Daylight mixed with Prop Hunt. It releases a few weeks later, in November 2021. And it's fine. Nothing like the scope of the day before, but it works, and sells a decent amount of copies. And with that, they disappear again, not to be heard from again for months. It's May 2022, now just 1 month till release, and still, nothing.
Yeah, Baby Jeebus, Starfield was a huge letdown. And from everything I've heard, yeah, it was a big letdown. And I think part of that is because Todd overhyped the shit out of it. And when him and Bethesda got called on some of the failings of Starfield, they went full on defensive mode and kind of like fired back with not great responses. Yeah, like he always does. Yep. So that was it. That was the thing Starfield. I never played it. I am not gonna play Starfield. You know, trying to play Starfield. Me being an Elite Dangerous player and then trying to play Starfield, I would hate it. Because I like the space flight. I like the space exploration. Hello, Professor Commoner, or Professional Commoner. Yeah, like the fact that you could not really fly your ship in Starfield, instant turn off for me. When I found out that you could not really fly your ship in Starfield, and that the takeoff and landing was all cutscenes, I was like, nope, not even considering it. Yeah, and the thing is, being a genius, it was basically Skyrim in space. And Mia, yeah, they're like the modding community will fix it for us until we can actually roll patch up for us. That has been Bethesda's mantra. The modding community will fix it for us until we can get something put together. That's the way Bethesda and probably a lot of games are being done these days. We'll fix it in post. It's a terrible work ethic, honestly.
thing. What's going on? It's at this point that people on the internet gather together and questions start being asked. This was now the second time Fantastic had gone dark, this time a month before launch no less. Was this game even real? However,
Now, this is what you were talking about earlier, I think, Dusty. I think you had mentioned it. About, a month before launch, there needs to be trailers or something. Yes. And they're silent a month before. That's a problem.
in January, Nvidia had dropped a promotional video showcasing the game in 4K, and it's glorious. For that to get posted on Nvidia's official YouTube channel, they must have something. But finally, Fantastic comes out from the shadows. Okay, yes, the game is supposed to be launching in a month's time. However, no. No, it's not. We've decided we're switching to Unreal Engine 5, and the game will now come out in about a year's time, March the 1st, 2023.
Okay, that should have been a big fucking clue right there. If they said the game is not ready because we're switching to a completely different game engine and it's coming out in 6 months now, fuck no. That is a huge red flag. It takes longer than 6 months for you to port over a game to an entirely new engine. Dusty, I believe you may be correct. And yeah, this is like anybody with any even tertiary knowledge of how games are made would see this and go, that doesn't track. That doesn't track whatsoever. And I think this is when people started getting suspicious.
The transition to a more advanced and adapted open worlds engine will make the gameplay of the day before even more fantastic. And with that, they drop the mic and walk away. Okay, so instead of 6 weeks till launch, it's now about a year. Not great.
A year, excuse me. Even a year. Even with a year, switching over to an entirely new game engine, you'd need more than a year to transition from an already supposedly almost finished product and then transition to a completely new engine. No, you're basically building it from the ground up again. You're not doing that in a year. And like I said, anybody with any kind of knowledge would know, yeah, this ain't gonna happen. Yeah, but Lurker? I would say no. I'm gonna say no. If like maybe if you crunch the ever living hell out of it. And yeah, I'm thinking a competent team. I'm also thinking a competent team. But even if you crunch the hell out of it, I think you'd still be hard pressed porting a game from one game engine to a completely new game engine to do it in 1 year and have it be set a launch day ready. Is it possible? Yes, it may be possible. But it's 100% a red flag.
If they had to switch engines, it could take a year to learn how it works. After that it would be however long to finish the game.
Red. Yeah, baby Jeebus, the flip side to that is learning how it works. It is possible that with a competent developer, that they may already know how it works. And that would shave a lot of time off of it, but even still. A year, that would be really pushing it. And I guess the point here is that like to hear, okay, we're switching entire game engines and now it's gonna be coming out in a year, that just raises red flags all over the place. It honestly does. It raises all sorts of red flags, and I think more than a few people knew it at the time.
And a bit of a late announcement. Also, the change to a different engine just 1 month from launch, definitely a bit sussy. Then fast forward to June, and a page is discovered on Fantastic's website. On it reads, "Be a volunteer." Fantastic's culture is based on the idea of volunteering. Every member of Fantastic is a volunteer. Naturally, people are horrified. They're using unpaid labor to make this game. However, Fantastic comes out of the dark again. They tell us all of its employees,
These guys are like the boogeymen at this point. They keep just coming out of the shadows and coming out of the darkness.
paid or not, are volunteers. This is because they always try to bring in proactive people with open hearts. Right. What's actually happening is there's two types of workers there. Both have salaries. It's just one of those salaries consists exclusively of cool rewards, participation certificates, and free codes. Also, a perfect time to jump in front of the cam again. This time they advertise this volunteer culture on their YouTube, saying how nice it is to be part of their unpaid volunteer team. Wonderful. Okay, yeah. None of this was sounding too reassuring.
This only isn't not sounding reassuring. This is sound that they're honestly, I'm really surprised they even came out to talk about this, because it's like they're telegraphing their scam. They're telegraphing the scam. Yeah, no kidding, house guest. I don't know. It feels like they're telegraphing right now. But I suppose they were trying to extremely badly clean up what was discovered, because I guess that website was found and probably sprayed all over the internet, and that's when people started adding them on Twitter or something. So I guess they were trying to clean up after it.
So people do a bit of digging and actually look into the company. Fantastic. Turns out the two brothers set up the company in the Siberian city of Yakutsk, Russia, back in around 2016. This was back when they just started their first game, Wild 8. This is a small indie survival game, crowdfunded on Kickstarter to the tune of almost $60,000 and with a publisher called Hype Train on board. And the Wild 8 released onto Steam Early Access in February 2017. Success. However, just 9 months after putting the game out, problem. An argument arises within the team and resulted in them ditching the game entirely and ending up selling the rights to the publisher. On to Dead Dozen. This is a co-op horror game Fantastic released in March 2018. It launches in a terrible state, and just 1 month after launch, they announce they're out of funds and that it's over. It's delisted from Steam in under 2 years. Then Radiant One, a small, isometric, free-to-play mobile game released on July the 6th, 2018. This is bug-free and launched without a hitch, but again, it's a tiny mobile game. And finally, Prop Night at the end of 2021. Now in fairness, they actually had given this some post-launch support and even completely overhauled the graphics in an update, which everyone absolutely hated and was promptly reverted. But so far, this was the only game they've actually announced and stuck with for a bit. So not the greatest track record so far. And then straight from all of that to one of the most ambitious MMOs ever made? Yeah. What people initially assumed
Suspicious. Definitely sounds suspicious. Yeah, the more it comes out, the more it's really starting to telegraph. Dusty, people see what they want to see sometimes. With the folks that really were hyped about this game, they didn't want to see the red flags. They wanted to hold on to this belief that this was going to be a great game, that they were going to get the game that was promised. That's what they were holding on to. So they chose to ignore all of the red flags that were flying proudly. That's the only explanation that makes any sense.
was probably a fairly big, competent studio that could maybe actually tackle something like this, was actually a minuscule studio that had pumped out a couple of half-assed, quickly abandoned early access titles, and a free-to-play mobile game, and also had a ton of their staff essentially working for free. Not ideal. People also take the time to look into Mytona, the day before's publisher. They'd previously published genre-pioneering hits, such as Chef and Friends and Cooking Diary. So of course, the next natural step was an absolutely enormous zombie MMO. And to top that all off, for the rest of 2022, radio silence again. People are now very concerned. Right guys, we're losing support at breakneck speed here. Something has to be done. And in January 2023, another Nvidia video drops. This time, a lukewarm reaction.
I mean, it's alright, like...
Everybody already knew that if there was a game, it looked good. However, they also drop another video, Life at Fantastic. Here, they tell us they're actually partnered with Nvidia and Lenovo, and get products from them for free. They've now been working on the game for 4 years. They show us how great it is to work for them. Just look at how much fun they're having. It's also worth noting, we don't see an actual office here once, but the main thing here, their app.
Yeah, no office. Interesting. This was also, if I'm not mistaken, this was the game that on like Twitter and stuff like that, they were saying, please don't call us a scam. Like they were telling people on Twitter, don't call us a scam. And it even said that on their game itself when it launched, if I remember correctly. Like the opening text of their game said, you know, this is don't call this a scam. Like it's kind of mind-boggling that they would just flat out come out like that. Oh yeah. I wouldn't surprise me because it was probably just before this that they started that is when people started making the calls that it was a scam. I think when probably when the volunteers thing came out, that's when they started talking about how it was a scam, and the calls just got louder and louder. Yeah.
Turns out, there's this new app they've developed called the Continent app, and they're talking about it a lot. In fact, the whole video seems more like an ad about that than the actual game or company.
With the Continent app.
The description of the video was also literally just a link to download the app. They also post this on Twitter. Okay, now people are really pissed. This game was launching in just around 8 weeks, and they hadn't seen any proper footage in months. Not once had they actually seen raw gameplay. Half the team were being paid in Funko Pops, and now they were being shilled an off-brand Russian version of Zoom. Boys, sorry to say, this thing's not looking good. Wait, Fantastic says. Fine. Actual, raw gameplay is on the way, lads. We'll post it in Discord soon. But then, something disastrous happens. On the 25th of Jan 2023, people log on to Steam and check their wish lists. Is something missing? And after rigorously scrolling up and down to think, hold on, the day before, where was it? Had the game been taken off Steam? Some people load up Fantastic's YouTube page.
Okay, this I didn't hear about. Did they actually take it off Steam for a time? Did that actually happen? I wasn't aware of this part. Cause that's kind of a holy shit kind of moment there. If it suddenly gets yoinked off of Steam. Oh shit. I mean, if they, well, well, Lurker, it's why Bethesda did not launch Fallout 76 on Steam, I think, is because Steam does refunds. At least I think it was Fallout 76 that Bethesda refused to release on Steam. Yeah, oh boy. Okay, this is new. I hadn't heard about this, so I'm curious what the explanation is. I'm hoping you'll get into it.
And even some of their videos are down. Devoted fans fear the worst. The dreaded rug pull was here.
Oh!
However, Fantastic rushed to the Discord and they have a little something to say. Hey, so yep, the game has been taken down from Steam, but don't worry. It was taken down due to a bug from Steam maintenance. This whole thing's normal, and it'll be right back. Not long after, they come out with another, completely different statement. So, actually, turns out that old name of ours, you know, the one we've been advertising in every trailer and poster for a couple of years now, well, we'd never actually got round to trademarking it, and, Korean Calendar app may have got there first. And they're now suing us. And of course, they also announce another delay, and March 2023 now becomes November the 10th, 17 months after the original launch. You know, because of the trademark issues. But then they come out and say that actually, this delay was planned all along. Also, because of this whole situation, that actual raw gameplay we promised to drop, also delayed. What? But don't worry. They have strong legal partners and will take the fight to the courts. They're confident. The result of all of this? Chaos. Fans...
Yeah, Mia, this is an ocean of red flags at this point. Well, I'd say at this point, Baby Jeebus, this was when people at large were calling him scam. Like, people had already been red flagging it before, saying, look, all of this is feeling like a scam, and when this happened, that's when everybody started going, okay, yeah, that's a scam. And it started making its way through all of social media. Everybody was calling it a scam, which it was. But this is when the public tide turned 100% against them.
Revolt en masse. Reddit and Discord light up like the 4th of July. Everyone asking the same thing. Is this game actually real? Before, anyone on the Discord who dared to ask would be exiled instantly. But now, even the head mods are asking it. Woo lads, this isn't great. Time to get back on the mic. The storm will calm down eventually, and time will put everything in its place. When the game comes out, people will finally see the truth. They tell IGN. Okay. Public support is now in the toilet, and things are looking dire. Any street cred they'd amassed, already flushed. The consensus was unanimous. This game was a scam. They had to do something, and quick. Gentlemen, we've been promising it for months, but now is the time. Release the footage. So in early February 2023, with apparent approval from their legal team, they decide to release some actual, unedited gameplay. They even have a big fancy countdown for it. But then the countdown hits 0 and nothing happens. The gameplay reveal is then delayed again. But eventually, after citing technical issues, later that week the gameplay does actually release, and the game is finally out there for people to see.
And it's meh.
Okay, we now know this game is actually real, but there are a few issues. The graphics, they're not great, and definitely not what was shown a couple of years.
It's like you don't even know if it's real, because do you recall the Anthem trailer? When the Anthem trailer dropped? That was all fake. The Anthem trailer, just like the day before, was 100% fake. It was all pre-done. From the cutscene to the quote-unquote in-game mechanics, that was all fake. And in fact, there was a deep dive. I think it was David Schreier, I think his name was, from Kotaku, did a deep dive on this. And the Anthem trailer footage was all 100% fake. It was all like 100% scripted. There was no actual in-game footage. Yeah, Donut, I was just about to say that. You donut! You're stealing my thunder? Yes. When the trailer launched, the devs were present. That was the first time the very developers of the game got to see what they were making. The developers did not even know what the fuck they were making until this pre-rendered trailer came out. And that's when they found out what it was. They didn't even know it was going to be called Anthem. They did not even know that the game was going to be called Anthem. They thought it was going to be called something else, which I cannot recall what they thought it was going to be called before. So, just because Fantastic showed this trailer doesn't mean it wasn't fake as well. It doesn't mean that it wasn't just something pre-rendered and not actual gameplay footage either. Because Anthem did it, they did it a hell of a lot better than these guys did. And that was, 4 years ago? 4 years prior?
Years ago. In fact, the lighting looks completely different, and there's a clear downgrade in VFX. It also looks very boring. There's no zombies around anywhere, and the majority of the 10 minutes consists of walking around and checking drawers. People also noticed they'd literally copied, shot for shot, bits of the Cold War Zombies trailer. And, come to think of it, some of those initial marketing materials also look a bit sus. Naturally, the response to this reveal is negative. So on the 8th of February, Fantastic come out with another statement.
Okay, Dusty, I'll see you next time.
This time addressing the haters. Anyone can say anything for views, and everyone will believe it, they say. Disinformation needs to be dealt with. Destroying is easy, creating is difficult. In fact, they say after the game comes out, they'll spend a portion of their time fighting disinformation.
Of course.
February 16th, and a new dev vlog comes out. This time, there's absolutely no mention of the Continent app. In fact, by March 2023, the Continent app had been taken down, the website gone, and all mention of it completely wiped, meaning the whole thing had lasted just around 3 months. April.
So this app that they were... I'm finding out about all kinds of stuff about this company that I did not know before. Like, that they did this app that they were so focused on. These are guys that are just trying to put their hands into every pie. They're just trying to get in everywhere, and they're doing nothing good. Holy shit.
2023. A beta for the day before is announced, alongside a promise to players that there would be no more delays. They get to work behind the scenes with their army of volunteers, and are dead serious about getting this thing out. In June, they even announced new features, like in-game jobs. Become anything from a manual labourer to a musician. Look, saunas. Nice. Despite everyone still thinking it was a scam, they're working hard and getting stuff done. They are gonna get this thing out. There's also an official trailer in June. This time, it's just a Lamborghini driving down a road. At first it seems very random and out of place, but then people realise it's just a rip-off of a shot from I Am Legend. August 2023, and Fantastic are preparing for the worst, in case they lose their trademark lawsuit. They file for the rights to a new backup name, Dayworld. However, people online realise that name could also be a problem, due to a series of books written in the 80s. But nonetheless, the wait for November intensifies. In April, they'd said no more delays, but on November 1st, they announced another delay. Games now coming out a month later, December 7th. Also, only the PC version would be launching, and now via early access. The PlayStation 5 and Xbox versions would supposedly release alongside the full version of the game, whenever that may be. Also, news on the lawsuit. They'd won. And there it is, gentlemen. It's back. Raise a glass. This game is actually releasing. November 2nd, another trailer comes out. This time, people notice that their marketing is now copying from other games. This time, Cyberpunk 2077, GTA 5, and Red Dead Redemption 2.
And I heard about this too, that all of their marketing was just completely copied from other games. Which, I mean, now looking at it in hindsight, you can see why. But I mean, people are like, how many? Maybe it's I was gonna ask yeah, how many copies of this were bought at launch, but maybe he'll talk about it because obviously the hype for this died down significantly over the years to the point that it basically it Uno reverse card at this point and everybody was thinking it was a scam. So
2. 4th of December. The game is 3 days from its supposed launch, and Fantastic decides now is a great time to come out with a statement saying, please don't accuse us of scamming, and please don't
This is what I remember. This is what I remember is them saying, please don't accuse us of scamming. And they actually put this in the fucking game. Like when you boot the game up, this is one of the first things that you see. Please don't accuse us of scamming. Not confidence expired.
accuse us of asset flip. That's not true also. This is in response to a horde of comments online suggesting those exact two things. But ignore all of that, because for years now, people had been doubting them. Liar! Claims of vaporware, fake trailers, scamming, plagiarism. They'd even been dragged through the courts and came out victorious. And against all odds, their game was actually real and releasing this week. It's even being advertised in Times Square. They had done it. Made a real...
Wow. They advertised in Times Square? Well, and yeah, Lurker, it was 100%. It was 100% an asset flip. I'm sure Big Boss will explain how shortly, so I won't spoil it, but I didn't realize that they even advertised in Times Square like that. Holy shit. That's, oh. Talk about publicly showing your L's. Good God. Yeah, Lurker, you're not right. It's, and it's not just games. It's any entertainment these days. The harder they advertise it, the more you should avoid it. Perfect example. Um, perfect example. Inside Out 2. Now, I don't subscribe to regular TV in any way, shape, or form. So those of you that actually do, you can tell me this because you've seen commercials. How heavily was Inside Out 2 marketed before it released? Does anybody have any idea? I'm sure it probably got some advertisement, but how much advertisement do you think Inside Out 2 actually had prior to its release? Was it heavily marketed? Okay. Hi. Blake, you didn't see anything of it. Eggy, where did you primarily see this marketing? Was it just TV commercials? Just like TV commercial advertisements? Or are we talking like print advertisements, like on buses and billboards and stuff? Because I'm working with a theory here, and I'm wondering if I'm right or not. Oh, really? Okay. Okay, so they did market it pretty heavily. Okay. Well, because I mean that movie's going like crazy. I think it's slated to hit like $1 billion at this point. So I don't know. Yeah, but Snowman, do you have like ad block or YouTube Premium where you won't see ads? Because that's kind of the key there. You would see it if you could actually see ads on YouTube. That's the difference. Okay. I don't know. I mean, no ad block. Okay. So they market it heavily, but there's another factor involved, and this also applies for entertainment across the board. I myself do not recall about hearing any issues or any of the actors or creative staff behind Inside Out 2 either having a problem or coming out and making public statements prior to its release, other than the normal, the normal fluff that comes from, doing press junkets uh, when you're nearing a movie's release. I didn't hear any, there was no problems like you hear about behind the scenes where, like, oh, this movie's going through problems and it's going through redos or new director or whatever. Didn't hear any of that. And I didn't hear about any of the actors or creative staff coming out on these press junkets and making these wild, the kind of statements that you're hearing from a lot of these productions now, where they're saying it's all about this buzzword or that buzzword and doing all that kind of stuff. That's another factor in terms of if a project is potentially good, is how they market it. Is there a lot of talk about behind the scenes drama, or are the people involved coming out and saying, this is for modern audiences, we're breaking glass ceilings, this is, so empowering for women, or something like that, where they're like saying very divisive shit to sort of front load their project because they know it's going to be bad. I don't recall hearing anything like that from Inside Out 2. Yeah, they are huge red flags. But I didn't hear any of that from Inside Out 2. So that's the thing. If you when any project gets front loaded like that, you're gonna be in for a bad time. It's almost a guarantee these days. So yeah.
Playable game, and proved everyone wrong. And on December 7th, after a very turbulent 2 years, the day before releases. And it's so bad.
I heard.
The day before was advertised since day one as an MMO. Almost every trailer mentioned the word MMO, and the Steam description, MMO. So naturally, people expected the game to be an MMO. That wasn't the case. The game only hosted a maximum of 32 people per server, there were no raids or clans, and the world itself is small and not even really open. Basically just an extraction shooter like Tarkov, but much, much worse. That wasn't the
I don't know, Tarkov has been taking a lot of shit these days. Granted, for totally different reasons, but Tarkov has been getting hit with that big S word these days too. So maybe closer than you think.
only thing trailers lied about. There's also no survival mechanics. Crafting is now gone. All that's left of that is gun modification and the ability to create a completely pointless house in a closed off area of the map. Environmental destruction's gone, sleeping bags, this entire part of the map, and definitely these mud physics, proximity chat, a day and night cycle, no vaulting, and lastly, actual zombies. Seriously, like, where are they? This game was pitched as a zombie survival game, with the trailers showing massive hordes of them, but so far, there's absolutely none around. They're so rare, people actually band together into search parties just to look for them. On the odd occasion you actually run into 3 or more of them, your performance will also tank. In fact, the performance in general is pretty terrible. When you do actually see them, zombies can easily be sidestepped, outjogged, and rendered completely useless when standing on top of cars. Even other players, barely a threat. The game is so empty, people start to think a ton of the gunshots they're hearing on the map are actually fake, placed there by devs to give the illusion there's actually stuff going on. However, say you actually do run into someone and don't have any ammo. Unlucky, because there's literally no form of melee in the game whatsoever. This isn't a post-apocalyptic zombie survival game. Saying that, that shouldn't be a problem as the loot rarity in this game is completely botched, with rifles, machine guns and ammo pretty much peppered about everywhere. Then there's no progression, optimization sucks, gunplay isn't great, servers often have a 1 to 2 second delay to register shots, constant alarms, and you can't even turn them off like you can in the trailers.
Hello?
Anyways, first impressions is these alarms need to fuck off.
The graphics, nothing like they were in the initial trailers. The lighting is especially bad. You can buy vehicles in the form of cars, but they're done. It will take an average of
Yeah, I watched Charlie play it, and it was painful. It was so fucking painful watching Charlie play it. Cause there was nothing. There was nothing in that game. I think he got smacked by another player in a real bitch move. But I also remember there's like, I don't know if he's mentioned it, but if he's going to mention it, like you get like forms of gigantism in the hubs where like characters, like other players, will suddenly balloon and become like Titan size. Like out of nowhere, and you just have these giant Titans inside this tiny little hub area. It's fucking hilarious.
110 hours of gameplay just to afford one, and you can lose it forever in a matter of minutes. Luckily, there's a money duping glitch discovered within 1 day of the game coming out, so now everyone in the apocalypse has a Lamborghini.
Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here.
The story? Well, you wake up a man with a seemingly fine speech organ.
Alright, your speech organs seem fine.
You're then welcomed into a community called Woodbury, where all survivors are located and work together to rebuild. Just after that, you step out into the world, where you and those same people then go out to savagely kill each other in a bloody free-for-all. There's a lot of broken English, and even suspicions of AI voice acting and writing.
Put your things in here.
And then there are the bugs. As soon as you start the game, be careful getting up, as your character likely glitches through a wall, falls through the map, or just dies instantly. Time to restart. Oh wait, that doesn't actually fix the problem, as it's just saved when you exited, and you'll load back in outside the map, with the only option being to restart the whole game. All of this in the initial tutorial, within the first minute of starting the game. Then there's whatever this is. And Massive Headman.
Yes! This is what I was talking about. Massive Headman. Oh, hey, Clockwork. Look. I hope you had fun at your barbecue. I hope you had fun at your barbecue, even though you had to fight way back. Yeah, Massive Headband here. This is what I was talking about. Like, imagine this. Like, this is in the open world. Imagine seeing this in the hub. That would be terrifying. For out of nowhere, suddenly just big giant headband.
But nonetheless, the game sells more than 200,000 copies, and Steam's day one player base is around 40,000 people. The game's done very well. It's even played by big Twitch streamers like Dr. Disrespect. However,
Not a very ringing endorsement these days.
the cracks soon start to appear. It instantly acquires the overwhelmingly negative score on Steam, and the Discord erupts into complaints. Hot on the list? This game.
Yeah, Baby Tease is definitely former. I don't know what's gonna come of it. I've only heard various things, but yeah, I mean, he got completely demonetized, so still, his review of 2 out of 10, it's still valid. It was an absolute shit game. It's not even I mean, honestly, not even the audience is too old. It's just a shit game. Blake, it's a clusterfuck. Let me put it that way. It is a massive clusterfuck. Be glad I made the error of talking about it on 2 different videos on stream. And yeah, it's nutty. This is either gonna go potentially very bad for him or very good, with some potential defamation type lawsuits that he might have cooking. So Yeah. And yeah.
Game isn't even an MMO. After Fantastic is called out on this, however, people begin noticing something. The game's Steam page. It's changing. What's different here? See, behind the scenes, Fantastic had quietly been removing tags like MMO
Okay, Donut. You have a good night, and we'll see you. Hopefully, see you tomorrow.
an open world survival craft, and hoping no one would notice. They did. However, that didn't even matter, because it's
Potato!
literally right there in the first and only line of the game's description, which they forgot to change. But by day 2, big cracks. 60% of the player base dips over the first night, and an internal leak shows, although the game sold 200,000 copies, 91,000 had been refunded. Dear God. Also, at this point, the reviews are in. Steam's overwhelmingly negative rating is now at just 13% positive, making it one of the worst rated games of all time there, and IGN has just given it a 1 out of 10.
Okay, if IGN is giving you a 1, you done fucked up. Cause IGN gives the most abominable shit at least a 5. If you're getting a 1, you fucked up. You've made the big leagues on fucking up with IGN.
Nice. But now people actually had their hands on it, it was time to crack open the game files and see what's under the hood of this bad boy. And, my God, it's worse than we thought. After a brief look on the Unreal Engine store, it's quickly apparent some things seem familiar. Files upon files, documents upon documents, thousands of assets flipped. After careful review, it seems that the inventory, building system, gunplay, bleeding mechanic, main menu, and more all come from a $65 Unreal Engine Store asset pack called the Survival Game Kit V2. Even the actual map itself, supposedly a $300 asset flip from the American City pack bundle from the same store. And that artwork looks familiar. There's a ton more, all documented in this Reddit post. Day 3. 80% of the player base is now gone.
Couch Potato, it's the day after. Or no, sorry, the day before. It's just how freaking bad it was. And yeah, I heard about how much like the entire game was one giant Unreal asset flip. Like, it was insane. And I mean, with it, my guess is they probably cobbled this together with these asset flips in like 6 months. They were trying their hardest they were doing their best to try and figure out how can we run this scam. And they just said, all right, let's just throw together a shit looter shooter with no actual zombies. And we'll throw in a whole bunch of Unreal assets and job done. And I guess maybe they didn't count on the returns. They were hoping people would play it for more than 6 hours before trying to return it, because I'm pretty sure Steam's return policy is, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Steam's policy is if you return within 6 hours, you can get your money back. But if you've played for, is it 2 hours? Oh, I'm wrong. Okay, it's 2 hours. Okay, Bunthulu. See you again soon. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, so it's 2 hours. I'm way off. And yeah, I get the feeling like they were, yes, they do, Jimmy Baby Diaz. But I think that either A, they were hoping that Steam wouldn't classify this as a scam and not refund it, or they were hoping that people would like spend 2 hours trying to find the content, and by the time they figured it out, it was too late. Really? They started it because of Arkham. Why? I don't think Arkham Knight was a scam. I liked Arkham Knight. I thought Arkham Knight was a good game. But people calling why are people pissed about Arkham Knight? It was. Okay, me, because I played it on PlayStation. So maybe that's why it worked fine on PlayStation. I did not play it on PC. Okay, that's very different then. Okay. Okay, then if if it's unplayable, okay, then I totally understand it. Okay. I never played it on PC, so I didn't have a frame of reference there. Uh, but my guess is Fantastic was probably hoping that they could try and beat the clock on the refund, and they just had like a whole bunch of people buy it, and by the time they said, "Oh, this game sucks, I want to return it," it'll have been past the 2 hours, and fingers crossed, Steam doesn't call it a scam. That's my guess. Is what they ended up trying to pull in the end.
And Fantastic comes out with another statement. Lads, it's been great, it really has, but the game didn't do too well, and we're closing shop. And the entire studio ceases operations 3 days into the release of the game. Valve removes the ability to purchase the day before on Steam, and personally steps in to offer refunds beyond the usual 2 hours of game time.
Nice.
And Operation Scrub begins. Within hours, the brothers burn everything. Their YouTube videos, LinkedIn, Facebook, a ton of tweets. The lot. Again, chaos erupts in the Discord, which had partially opened back up at this point. Eyewitnesses on Reddit claim the final hours of the official Discord are glorious. From the moment the company called it quits, the Discord apparently goes completely out of control. 2 admins quit right away, and the rest of the admins and moderators start selling cheap keys of the game to everyone since the game had just been pulled from Steam. Eventually, it's just one single dev trying to hold it all.
Like, seriously, why would anybody even want a key if it's that fucking horrible? And Potato, you know what? The thing with Cyberpunk? I got Cyberpunk on PC. That is one of the very few games that I bought at launch. And God help me, I've probably told this story already, but I'm telling it again, because it's my stream, I can do what I want. Ha ha ha. I got Cyberpunk at launch, and I did not even have a gaming PC. I used GeForce Now, which is the gaming streaming service, to play Cyberpunk. And I did not encounter any bugs with Cyberpunk at launch. Let me rephrase. There might have been a tiny bug here and there, but nothing like the game-breaking bugs that you heard about. For the most part, Cyberpunk, and I did like 3 playthroughs of this. I did 3 full playthroughs of it. I didn't encounter any real problems with it for all 3 playthroughs. It was fine for me. It worked just fine. So I was always baffled when people like, oh, it's like the T-posing with your dick sticking out if you had a male avatar, or the cars bouncing all over just out of nowhere, just flying up. I didn't have any problems whatsoever with Cyberpunk. It worked fine for me the whole time. So I was always baffled when people were talking. Now, on the consoles, I saw it was one off the consoles. It was not ported over them properly. I get that, but I didn't play on console. Yeah, it's yeah, I'm seeing a lot of it. So I never understood the hate that it got, saying, "Oh, it's a buggy mess." I'm sitting here like playing it, going, "It's working fine. I've got no problems with it whatsoever." That always boggled my mind. I never understood it. I mean, maybe myself and you guys that didn't have any issues, maybe we're in the minority. We just got lucky, but it was never an issue. It worked fine. It was a good game. So I guess so. Or maybe baby Jesus, the small number of us just had real good luck. Always possible too. But I'm not even sure that I even got a crash, Clockwork. I don't think I ever even got a crash. Everything seemed to function just fine on my end when I played it.
altogether. Meanwhile, hate speech fills up the chat in minutes and is being spewed everywhere. They reply
I'm
to
seeing
someone on
penises.
Twitter, "This was our first big experience. Shit happens." And with that, they log off. However, a 180-degree announcement in the Discord. Actually, they're now reopening and ready to go with a major patch on the 14th. But December the 14th comes and goes, and nothing. The Discord is then fully shut down and never heard from again. A few days after it all goes down, a journalist in Singapore decides to actually visit Fantastic's offices. He travels to their address, however, turns out it's a shared co-op working space, having solely used it as a virtual office space. He also goes to their original address based on their filings. However, that building's online directory only shows a management consultancy company. And so, in people's minds, their office had gone from a game dev studio to a small studio, when in reality, the whole time it was more like someone's living room.
Probably someone's garage, not their living room.
It's presumed that they were never actually based in Singapore,
Well, that was a load of shit.
and only used this residency to apply for grants and to avoid being hit with Russian sanctions. This also explains why an office was never shown in their vlogs, just people's bedrooms. The dev vlog was also apparently filmed in a hotel lobby, and the devs were in a rental unit nearby. The same journalist gets Fantastic's bank statements, and turns out they filed around $3 million of revenue in 2022, with $200,000 of that going to the brothers. That's alongside $300K in travel expenses for the brothers in just one.
Holy shit! So these guys were jet setting. These guys were jet setting doing something else. They had to have been trying to do something else at the same time. Hence the travel expenses. They were going somewhere doing something and it wasn't making this game. Oh, okay, this is all new information to me.
Year. The filings also revealed that by the end of 2022,
Well, I'm thinking that they did the vlogs just to try and appease the fan base. That's my suspicion. They're trying to appease the fan base. Yeah, Potato, it really has. But it's not surprising. And Lurker, that's an excellent question. Because travel expenses also may not necessarily just mean plane tickets. That's also probably referring to hotels and possibly maybe meals. I don't know if the breakdown would include that. So, yeah, considering the travel expenses outweighed their salary, which was already significant. Yeah, there's definitely some questions here.
Fantastic had the value of around $1 million in their account. So things do sound a bit dodgy here. But what actually happened? Well, theories are everywhere. The first, a classic run-of-the-mill rug pull. Take the money and run. However, this doesn't make too much sense. One, because Valve holds purchase money for 30 days before paying out to developers, so they hadn't even seen a penny from their actual sales yet before closing the studio down. And two, they offered refunds en masse. Then there's the investment scam theory.
Well, who offered the refunds first? Was it Fantastic or was it Steam? Because I don't know the timeline of that, because if Steam offered the refunds first and then Fantastic basically went, oh shit, Steam's offering refunds. Yeah, that's what I figured. So because Steam offered the refund first, then Fantastic went, oh shit, Steam's already offering the refund, so we better do that too. For whatever reason, they were already outed as being scammers and they shut their studio down. But yeah, so the idea is like, oh well, this doesn't work because they offered refunds. Doesn't really fly because they were just following the footsteps of Steam, and Steam themselves might have actually called them and bullied them into saying, you better offer refunds. So that one doesn't really fly all that well.
Some people believe the brothers had no intention of ever making a proper game, that their only goal was to churn out a nice looking slice of pre-rendered gameplay and cutscenes, packaged as real gameplay, attract investors with it, and then eventually cancel the whole thing and bag the cash. Or give a half-assed attempt at creating one using cheap assets on the Unreal store and the free labour they'd amassed to implement it, all the while paying themselves a cushy 200k salary. And then there's the plain old incompetence theory. Management of the studio completely in over their head, drumming up too much hype, and flying too close to the sun. Post-launch interviews with anonymous developers give credence to this theory. See, not long after the company shuts down, alleged ex-developers scuttle from the darkness of the behind the scenes, and give answers as to what actually happened in various interviews. The picture that we can cobble together goes a little like this.
Now, I will say, this probably has to get taken with a huge grain of salt. Whoa! Hang on. Oh, sorry. One of my neighbors just blew off a firework I could see out my window. Cool. Yeah. Fireworks are starting. Steven wouldn't have to tell them to offer refunds. Yeah. But I'm wondering, Lurker, if maybe Steam reached out to them, and I mean they wouldn't have to tell them, but Steam's name is also to a degree on the line on this one, because they agreed to host the game on their platform. Well, not host, but they agreed to disseminate via their platform, and so this could also look bad for Steam. So I'm wondering if Steam reached out to them to bully them into saying it, not because they had to, but because they wanted to save some face. Welcome back, Duke. And Lurker, do not make me bunk you. I would bunk you. Say what? I said bonk, not the other one that I'm not going to say because I know you want me to say it. It was digital only, Potato. It was sold through Steam. It was disseminated through Steam. Yeah, so I'm thinking that Steam may have reached out to Fantastic not because they had to for the refunds, but probably as a
FBI, open up!
if you're waiting for me to go all dommy mommy on you, you may be waiting for a while. Fireworks definitely going off outside. Anyway, so yeah, that's my suspicion is Steam may have reached out to Fantastic as a PR thing. Oh, you're using the new icon. Nice. I like it. I like it. So, yeah, you gotta respect the sincerity.
Allegedly. From the beginning of the company back in 2016, the brothers allegedly had complete control over development. Thus, the day before was completely headed by the two, who made every gameplay and design decision. The day before actually started out with cartoonish graphics, and a far, far smaller scope. Single player, and basically just a third-person version of the Wild 8. Back then, things were actually manageable. However, one day, the brothers woke up, looked in the mirror, and saw another man.
People will buy anything.
The game had to be bigger, better,
My.
16 times the detail, 4 times the size. And with the brothers' genius management style, apparently consisting of demanding completely unrealistic features in an insanely short time frame, as well as shifting the direction of the game on an almost monthly basis.
Hello, Pizza Man. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you found us, and I'm hoping you enjoyed the videos on YouTube, and now you get to be part of the live thing. So, welcome. I hope you have a fun time.
Depending on what game they just played, things were constantly changing. They'd just played Stalker, at that tablet thing. They'd just logged on to GTA Online, new character creator. Played a bit of Spider-Man 2, the city's too gloomy, make it much brighter and a little friendlier. This was apparently constant. Alleged Fantastic insiders also claim the following. Working for Fantastic apparently included unpaid overtime and months of crunch, apparently often working for 18 hours a day.
And this is what I suspected. This is what I was saying. They'd probably crunched the shit out of them. Probably the last 6 to 8 months with this Unreal Asset flip. That was my suspicion from the beginning. Is this was, they just, when they realized they couldn't weasel the way out of it, they crunched the shit out of it for like 6 to 8 months. It's exactly what I figured it might be.
Day, sometimes including the weekend. During the development of Prop 9, the developers were apparently locked in their office for weeks at a time. What's that? Made a tiny mistake or argued with one of the brothers? Well, Fantastic has a company policy of spontaneous termination, so you're now out of a job. Just submitted some subpar work? Well, turns out they also have a policy of fining their own employees, up to the tune of almost $2,000 in some cases, so make sure that works good. The community.
Why the fuck did these guys have employees in the first place? Who in their right mind would want to work for a company that does this? Not simply the spontaneous firing, but you can get fined for doing your work at what they consider subpar? What the actual fuck? That is insane. Okay, too. Yeah, exactly. House gets fine their own employees up to $2,000 for what they consider subpar work. That's fucking nuts. I'm gobsmacked that they had employees in the first place. Because I cannot imagine any rational human being wanting to work for a company that does that. It does not make sense to me. Whatsoever. Like, you are literally working under the gun. Every day, all day. I mean, you could work for this company and actually come out in debt to the very company you're working for. If they can fine you, God only knows what bullshit low rate pay they were offering. But if they could fine you, that means you could literally, there was the possibility that you could exit from the company in debt to them. This blows my mind. This absolutely blows my mind that any company can operate in this way and actually have employees.
Communication to their devs, impeccable too. People are so well informed on what they're actually developing that it's through the initial trailer that some of them find out that the game they've been working on for years at this point is actually an MMO.
Now, gee, where have we heard that from before? Where have we heard that from before? And Pizza Man, that is an excellent question. But considering they're in hiding, good luck finding them to even sue them. Yeah, this is fucking BioWare and Anthem all over again. not finding out what fucking game they're working on until they actually see the trailer for it. Holy shit. Lurker and House Guest. Excellent points. It depends on where they are. And honestly, at this point, who the fuck knows? Who the hell knows where they even are? What country are they based in? It's, I believe, based on the filings where they registered their offices would be, even if it was like a bullshit thing. So it probably was, I think they said Singapore? So my guess is in Singapore, yes, they can be sued. Because I believe that's probably where they registered the business during development. Even if the devs were like operating out of their own homes or something, I believe the business was registered in Singapore. So I'm pretty sure they can be sued. Blood Moon, that, especially in the United States, that very much depends on the state. Because I know for a fact that bounty hunters are not a thing in all states. They are not. In fact, if you attempt a bounty hunt in some states, your ass gets arrested and thrown in jail. Because it's what you're doing in bounty hunting is illegal in that state. So, yeah, it doesn't work for all states, to say nothing of other countries. So, yeah.
How come employees didn't just dip? Well, the employees were recruited from a ton of small regional towns without much opportunity. So when they were promised a comparatively good salary and a AAA project in their portfolio, they didn't say no. Best part of all, on the backs of this desperate, unpaid labour, they'd spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on travel and paid themselves a nice chunk of change too. Not bad, lads. According to the developers, the day before also ended up being remade from scratch 3 to 4 times. Apparently 500 gigabytes of source code was created for the game, the vast majority of which were not included in the end product. The version released on Steam on December the 8th is apparently around 1/10 of all content that was originally conceived, according to insiders. The video for Nvidia was apparently, at the time, a completely separate build created specifically for recording those trailers. But anyway,
that is not at all a surprise. That is exactly what I expected it to be. That the Nvidia stuff, along with every trailer, was 100% fake thing that they put together specifically just for trailers alone. Well, Lurker, I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Anyway, after 4 years of this messy development, and in 2023, they're closing in on launch day. They have to get a move on, so they buy a ton of packs from the Unreal store and start implementing them. The final game is starting to take shape. They apparently begin actually testing the game as late as early 2023, and it was done by around 5 people. This isn't really considered the most robust testing for a game, especially one that was advertised as a huge MMO and would have dozens of people on their servers. Due to the lack of proper testing, they couldn't stress test and bug test the servers to see what they'd look like when filled. The result?
Oh, lovely.
Well, it turned out that when the servers actually were filled, they were completely destabilized, so devs had to reduce the number of zombies on the map, and the hordes of zombies vanished from the game. It's now close to November, and my toner apparently decides to check how their AAA product was doing. The publisher is naturally horrified when they see the absolute state of this thing, and apparently sends specialists. These are basically their own developers sent there to help. However, after seeing it for themselves, they apparently report back that the game should basically launch as is. There was nothing to save here, and
oh, wow. That's bad. When you have basically a team of helpers of actual devs coming in looking at this game and just going, boss, fuck it, we can't do a thing with this. That's bad. Like, they couldn't even clean it up. Oh, man. That really tells you the state. That really tells you the state of the gang. They did. They did, house guest. They 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 bamboozled the players. They bamboozled the studio, or the developer. Sorry. Well, I guess it was the studio. Uh, Holy shit. I want to know how much money that studio gave Fantastic. I'm really curious how much money they gave them. Yeah, not even. Well, yeah, that may have been partially because of the time constraint. If the game was due to launch in such a short amount of time, the actual professional devs that actually know what they're doing probably looked at it and said, "There isn't fuck all we can do with this in this time allotted." Now, why they didn't just say, "Boss, this should be canceled," versus just fuck it, fuck it, we'll do it live and launch it? I don't know. Maybe because they'd already sunk so much money into it. Maybe it was like a skull and bones thing where it's just like, we've already sunk a shit ton of money in this, we can't cancel it anymore and just gotta put it out. Who the hell knows? But, goddamn.
On December 7th, it's the big day. And the brothers are now apparently nowhere to be found, leaving the devs on their own to make all the decisions themselves. This is during huge waves of backlash hitting their Reddit, Discord, pretty much everywhere. They apparently get to work on fixing the bugs, sorting the servers, and writing hotfixes. However, they're apparently not allowed to actually release these hotfixes because Dr. Disrespect was currently streaming the game. One of these patches.
Oh my god. Seriously? They weren't allowed to release fixes because Disrespect was streaming the game live. You know what? I remember, who was it? Yeah, Lurker, they do. Those Disrespect references are hitting very hard right now. Here's the thing, I can't remember who it was that talked about this. I don't remember which streamer talked about this, but they were playing a game on stream and talking about some kind of bug that was happening. And apparently a dev for the game was watching the stream and actually, while the streamer was playing the game, wrote a hotfix, told the streamer, do me a favor, shut down the game for 5 minutes. They shut down the game, fired off the hotfix, and then when the streamer booted it back up, the fix was in play and the bug was fixed. So, yeah, they could have done it with Dr. Disrespect still playing it live. And Pizza Man, I don't know. Blake, do you remember what I'm talking about? I cannot. Can you remember who the streamer was? Because for the life of me, I'm drawing a blank on who the streamer was. Yeah, house guest. Who was this? Who was this I'm talking about? Because I forget who it actually was. For some reason, I'm thinking it was Russian Badger, but I don't think that's correct. I don't believe it was Badger. Damn, this is gonna kill me. I forget who was that was playing it. This is gonna bug me, but oh well. And I mean, Peaceman, it wasn't actually so much a problem with the bugs. There were bugs, absolutely, but the fact is that they delivered a game that was absolutely nothing like what was advertised. It was an extraction shooter. There were no zombies. There was no melee at all. The zombies were brain dead. I mean, the hotfixes could have fixed a few things, but it wasn't just something that a hotfix would address. Yeah, I'm sure I will, Blood Moon. I am sure I will. That's how my brain works, this stupid brain of mine.
Apparently fixes the lack of zombies on the map, now that they could actually test the game with more than 5 people. Things are looking up. However, on December 11th, a screenshot from one of the brothers appears on Microsoft Teams. Lads, the game has sold 200,000 copies. However, 90,000 have been returned. We're closing down. And just like that, after 4 days of release, it was over. For a while, the last bit of communication we'd had from Fantastic was shit happens. But on the 24th of January, they returned from the shadows once more. They present us with another one of their now iconic Twitter statements. They essentially deny developers' claims in various interviews, and essentially blame the game's failure on hate from content creators. They get community noted instantly, with people pointing out inconsistencies and flat out lies within the statement. So they take it down, edit it, and repost it. They then get community noted on the repost. They delete it, edit
Yeah, I love that community note, pure. Actually, what the hell? Pure cat. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised these guys are trying to save themselves. Their only recourse at this point is to just fucking run. That's their only recourse. Yeah, hostess, I'm gonna remember it probably days from now, and I'm gonna be kicking myself. I don't think it was Charlie. I'm almost certain it was not Charlie. But I don't know.
it, and repost it again. Community noted. It's at this point that they just give up completely, taking it down and just adding it to their website instead. From Steam's most wishlisted game to being almost 50% refunded in one day, pulled by Steam and hurled with accusations of plagiarism and potential investor fraud, some people think the Day Before didn't quite reach the potential of the original trailer. And to everyone's complete shock, it was beginning to look like the MMO zombie survival game from an indie studio headed by 2 ambiguous Russian brothers that no one had ever heard of before, had failed. And on January the 22nd, 2024, the Day Before's servers go down for good, meaning the game's total lifespan was 45 days. The game's subreddit today, once large and fairly active, is now largely abandoned and has become an absolute lawless shitshow. And the brothers? Well, they haven't actually been seen since December the 7th. However, according to multiple former devs who've apparently received offers from them, they're out there and apparently are currently working on a new mobile game.
Holy shit. I'm actually surprised that we have not heard about lawsuits already. That honestly really surprises me.